This is the Horse Radio Network. This is episode 238 of Horse Tip Daily, a different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings you the world of equine knowledge to you one day at a time. Today's tip is sponsored by FeedXL. You can visit them at feedxl.com. Enjoy today's tip. I'm Glenn the Geek from Lexington, Kentucky, and welcome back, everybody, to Horse Tip Daily. Well, today we continue my wife week with Jennifer back on with us. We have 2 more days left in the week, my special week with my wife, Jennifer, providing the tips. It's our anniversary week, which is the reason we were doing that. If you missed the ones earlier in the week, please stop by. She always has some very practical and useful tips after having run barns for many, many years. And we're going to be right back with Jennifer with her next tip right after we speak about our friends at FeedXL. You know, one of the things that we all worry about is how much we're feeding our horse and whether we're feeding him the right stuff and whether we're using the right supplements. We worry about all that stuff because we're not nutrition experts. We're people who are just trying to get by every day and do the right things by our horse. Well, FeedXL does all the smart stuff that it takes to formulate and balance a horse's diet. It takes all the science and math that a doctor of equine nutrition learns and makes it all super easy and fun for you to use. Just plug in a few simple details about your horse to see if your horse is having his nutritional requirements met. You know, they take those details about your horse and what you feed him, and FeedXL does some serious math and stuff, and they calculate your horse's nutritional requirements and make sure that they're being met. You can see the results of this math displayed in numerous ways, including an easy-to-read graph that highlights excesses and deficiencies in his diet. And believe me, they go through everything, from all the different vitamins to whether hay and feed. It's everything. Learn more about equine nutrition and how to feed your horse for ultimate performance by visiting FeedXL Learning Center. For more information or to use FeedXL, go to feedxl.com. And I recommend everybody stop by and at least check it out at feedxl.com. Well, hi, Jennifer. Welcome back to Horse Tip Daily.
Hi-ho.
This is my lovely wife, Jennifer. She's been on before, and if you haven't heard any of her tips, they're always extremely practical tips. You can go back to Horse Tip Daily on the left-hand side of the page. You'll see a drop-down menu where, with all the experts, just pull up Jennifer the Geek, Geekette, and you'll find her there, and she will. You can just listen to all her tips at once by doing that.
Glenn has to listen to them all at once every day.
I know. That's true. That is true. So what do we have for people today?
Essential lists for the barn.
Essential lists for the barn.
Yes.
Okay.
As you know, I am a list maker.
Yes, she is definitely a list maker, which drives my ADD absolutely insane.
Well, you make lists too. You just can't find them.
I
once
just
you've
can't
made them.
find them, nor do I ever follow them.
No.
So
Pretty much. So what do we got? There's 2 essential lists that I think everybody should have in the barn. One is your shopping list. Have been in horsey retail for a number of years now, and the frustration on folks' faces when they come into the tack shop and they remember they need to get 3 things. So they walk through the tack shop and they find those 3 things, and then they stand there twitching because they know they have a riding lesson in 15 minutes, or sweating on the brow because they have a horse show in 2 days and they know they need something else. And we're all busy multitasking and we're all busy running 10 different directions at once. So essential list number 1 is put a dry erase board, a legal pad, a chalkboard, the back of a paper shopping bag, something in your public grooming area in your barn, and a writing utensil that is permanently attached to it, so that when you're in there, and let's face it, most things we run out of are grooming supplies, something that we're going to be using in the grooming stall. When you pick up the bottle of shampoo and you know that there's a 1/4 of an inch left and you're going to set it back down, write shampoo on whatever you're using for a list, so that when it is time to make a jaunt to the store, you can run out and either drag that paper bag with you or put it onto another piece of paper that's easier to carry, and have something close to a complete list of what you ran out of. The other list you have should be, if you have a feed room / office that you use, put another one in there. You're running out of a supplement that only one horse gets, and boy, it's getting low. Write it on there. And that way, again, you can consolidate when you either make your call for delivery, because a lot of us have our products delivered to our farms either through an online company that we work with, or we have our local stores make deliveries. When you make that phone call, again, you've got it all right there in front of you. Scratch it off the list when you've ordered it, and then you're good to go. And the other important list that you want to have is for your show trunks. Everybody's got that big box that you take to the horse shows with you. And this is something I learned way back when I worked for Jane Sleeper, Event Rider, is inside the lid of your tack trunk, right on that list, what's supposed to be in the tack trunk. That way, whatever human being has the time to restock the trunk before the next competition rolls around, it can even be your horse husband. All he has to do
It's usually your horse husband.
All you have to do is look at that list, and you know what you should find in there. You should be finding 2 sets of open front boots and 1 pair of extra socks, 1 handful of hairnets, whatever it is. Now, I took it so far as to write, I actually had a map on mine, so that the top shelf left corner, you could see what was supposed to be in there.
There's a word that comes to mind, but we won't say it. Now, it is true, because a lot of the professional eventers, you'll see them at the shows, and when you see the open lids of the tack trunks, they all seem to have are going that route now. And I know that I've heard that from a few of the grooms too. And what they'll do is they'll take that list and they'll put it in one of those plastic sleeves you get
Right.
for at the office supply store, and they'll tape that in there so it doesn't get trashed.
And it's also very handy. Ziploc bag comes to mind there. You can tape it up. When you do run out of something, you can grab the list and run up to the tack store that's going to be at your competition and say, I need this one. So again, it's just really handy for reducing that stress of, oh my God, we ran out of.
I think the biggest tip there is to tape it to the inside of the tack trunk. I think people try and do the list, and then the list gets lost, and it's like you can't find the list when you're running out to go to the show, and it's 4 a.m, and everybody's all huff because the coffee wasn't made and it was burnt. Then you could, it's just right there on the inside of the cover.
Tape it to the trunk.
And each trunk gets their own.
Each trunk can get just slap
your
it up
medical,
there with some duct tape.
and that includes your medical trunk. Your emergency medical trunk should have its own list, and double check it before you leave for the show so that you make sure you have everything in there. Even if you think you didn't use it, it's amazing who stole stuff out of it during the week.
Absolutely.
All right, those are great tips on lists, making of lists, and keeping the list taped to the inside of your trunk before you go to that show, or even trail riding, for that matter.
That's right.
Doesn't matter if you're transporting the horse from home, you're going to have a trunk of some sort. All right, thank you, Jennifer. We appreciate you being on.
Ta.
Well, thanks again to my wife for joining us this week and providing all of the tips this week. We appreciate that. We thought it was time for a practical run of tips here. We've had a lot of training tips and been doing a lot in the health field, and we thought it was a good time for some just practical, simple, easy tips. All right, well, we're going to be back again tomorrow and with Jennifer on her last day here during Jennifer Week, during Anniversary Week, we're calling it. Until then, stay safe, everyone, and have a great weekend.